closer to one of his kids. Nice to see you, Mr. Pond.
Just make sure that's nothing on our end. Oh, it's back on.
It's unmuted now.
Okay, we're on. Sorry about that. Thank you. It's okay.
So adoption of a residential exemption is of benefit only in those communities that have a substantial number of non-primary residents. Most of Berlin's residential properties are owner occupied, 95%. 18 out of 352 communities in the Commonwealth adopted a residential exemption in FY 2025. Cities and towns that utilize this tax option generally have a large percentage of rental units like Boston, Brookline, Cambridge, or a large amount of seasonal tourist housing. Tucket, Provincetown, Tisbury. These are the communities with residential exemption in the state of Mass and their percentage. Barnstable, Boston.
Oh, I'm
So
sorry.
that's okay. Barnstable, Boston, Brookline, Cambridge, Chelsea, Concord, Everett, Malden, Mashpee, Nantucket, Oak, Provincetown, Somerville. Somerville has 35%, Provincetown as well. Truro, Waltham, Watertown, and Wellfleet. Example of 10% residential exemption for the town of Berlin. So basically you can see the owner occupied home value. It would be 767, 721.
So Linda, just to clarify, that average single-family home value for FY 26 would be 767,000. That's your break-even point.
This actually is for 2025.
Oh, I'm
We
sorry.
do not have the 2026 numbers yet. It has
That
to
would
go
make
through the
sense.
final, but the DOR gives you a choice we have in the gateway, we have an option where to calculate, and the final numbers are not there, but this is for FY 2025.
And your chart next to it shows that 3/4 of the residential properties in town fall below that number.
Correct. And this is, I'm not gonna take the credit. This is with the help of Jason. I don't know if he's around or maybe. Yes, he did an awesome job of analyzing, and I asked him, I said, this looks amazing. Can I steal it? And he said, yes. But he did a good job. Yeah, and approximately 1/4 of homeowners would see a substantial increase in order to find a reduction of the other. Yeah. The other one is the open space discount. Is a process which allows cities and towns to grant a tax break to those properties that are classified as open space. The Department of Revenue has described open space as land which is not held for income, but is maintained as an open and natural condition and which contributes significantly to the benefit enjoyment of the public. An exemption of up to 25% could be adopted for property classified as Class 2 or open space. Historically, the town of Berlin has recognized the classification of open space, and we have 99 parcel in open space category in the town. I believe when I showed the LA4, we had some mixed in different categories. It could be commercial, residential, but it's open space. The Board of Assessors has consistently encouraged classification under Chapter 61A, which is agriculture and horticulture, or Chapter 61 forestry, which enables the property owners greater discount of taxes and gives the town the benefit of at least a 5 Chapter 61A or 10 Chapter 61 acre minimum lot size that is actively devoted to the type of classification. In addition to these benefits, the town has the right of first refusal to purchase any lands classified under these acts.
So this is all conservation land as well, correct?
No.
No, conservation land is owned by the town.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Just checking.
the conservation land, it's an exempt.
Okay.
This is residents that they have open space and residential, or they can have open space and commercial. So it's two different tax
Okay.
values. If someone has, for example, a commercial building and then 25 acre, then they would have the tax break on the chapter land, but the commercial would be in the same.
Okay, because I was just wondering that some people might be like, oh, does that include? So, and I know that there's slides coming up, on that, but just wanted
Yeah,
to throw
no,
that out there that
conservation,
not
it's town
conservation.
owned and it's exempt, which I think we should have another discussion regarding that, because I believe we have a lot of land on conservation.
Okay, so the open space exemption applies to the things that are in 61A specifically and 61? Or is there
61,
out-
61A and 61B.
Okay.
It's three categories.
So you have to be within that.
Correct. They have to have more than 5 acres to qualify. For forestry, it has to be 10.
Mhm.
And then they usually bring us every year paperwork, show us an invoice and
And historically, what have we chosen for the open space exemption? Has it been the 25% or has it been lower?
no, historically it's 25%. Yep. The other thing that applies to Berlin and historically that we approved it and allowed it, it's small commercial exemption. Qualifying businesses must be on the list supplied to the assessors by the Division of Unemployment Assistance Board. Multi-business properties, all businesses must qualify to receive the exemption. Value must be less than 1 million. Industrial properties do not qualify but share the tax burden shift for the exemption. For FY 26, number eligible commercial parcels were 7, and the total value of, this is the assessed value, not the dollar value. I believe I spoke in the previous meeting. I was surprised. Last year we had around 25. This year I decided to send application. I only received back 7. So based on that, we last year we were around like 8 million. So it's a significant decrease.
And you don't have any idea why or?
They didn't complete. Yeah, and without completing that, I cannot give them the break on the 10% on, it's only 10% on the commercial value. Average single family tax bill, I did some charts and some surrounding towns, West Boylston, Sterling, Northborough, Hudson, Clinton, Boylston, and Berlin. Please note these are values for FY 2025. These are our top 5 taxpayers. The town, the Rockwell Apartments, Highland Commons, Mall, River Bridge Hotel, and Sears. So these are the top 5. And this is the fun part that we have to make a decision. If we going to approve single tax rate or split tax rate. As you can see, there are the values, the levy, share percentages, estimated tax rate, and levy amounts. So if we decide no shift, which is residential factor 1, we will have a tax rate of 1522, both residential and commercial and industrial. And if we decide to have the shift, then as you can see, what is the percentage on the share? And And I cannot recommend on this. This would be up to the Board of Selectmen and of course Kristen to make that determination.
I do have a recommendation if you'd like.
If we wait a minute on that,
Sure.
there's two different splits we're talking about, and we can do both or neither, correct? So we have the residential exemption, which would split sort of owner occupied from non-owner occupied residential. And we have the commercial and residential split. And we could decide to do both of them, neither of them, or just one of them, correct?
Correct. That
Okay,
is
those are
correct.
Independent decisions. Okay.
Yes, so basically, this is the confusing part, is the residential factor.
Right.
It means that, and the residential exemption, so are two things, yes. So residential factor, we can decide, are we going for a single tax rate, are we going for a split? And the residential exemption would be basically occupied and unoccupied, yeah. And then we can also decide on the small commercial, but I would recommend this year to allow that because we do not have a lot of parcels.
Peg or Lisa, do you have questions? I have several, but I don't want to dominate this.
Go ahead and ask questions.
Ditto, go ahead.
Do you now know which residential properties in town are owner occupied and which ones are not? So that if we did a residential factor, that you would have the ability to send out the tax bills correctly to the owner occupied versus non-owner occupied properties?
I believe 95% are owner occupied. We have very little percentage of renters in the town and
But you would be able to, it would not delay the tax bill if we voted for a residential exemption.
I would not be able to know that. They have to come and apply.
So even if we voted on it today, it wouldn't be ready for the tax bill. It's potentially going out in 2 weeks because you'd have to send out applications. And so in theory, even if we voted on today, the first it could take effect is in fiscal year 27. Don't they, if they have to apply for it?
I think you vote on it again every year.
Right.
Yes,
Yes.
correct.
I believe if it's based on value, then if you voted on it, we would make the adjustment in Gateway, so it could be reflected on the tax bills, is that?
Yeah, but we would need more time. I don't think it would be possible within 2 weeks
Yeah,
unless we decide as a group that we can send the tax bill maybe November 1st instead of October, then yes, I'm willing to do the work if you decide to vote on the residential exemption. Absolutely, I can do that.
and that ongoing, that there is an administrative cost to keeping track of this, because again, it's something that people would have to apply for. And you would, I assume like the 61A stuff, that it goes to the assessor board has to vote on them. And in theory, with 851 residential properties and 95% of them, in theory, owner occupied, there'd be 800 votes you would have to take annually to maintain this.
Correct. They would have to come and apply, and I would have to verify, like, do they really live in the town? And some instances also check some personal documentation. Yes. Would have to have spreadsheet and go from there.
Heather, you guys are still going.
Mhm.
On the other topic, then the other split, the split tax rate between residential and commercial. This is one where I regularly get confused where people are saying it would save the taxpayers by having a single rate instead of a split rate. And if I do the math, if we do a
Kristen.
single residential rate, the average home at 767,000 would pay $11,673. And if we did the smallest shift on your chart at 1.45, the residential would pay $10,791 or almost $900 less. And so I still don't get when I keep hearing that a single tax rate would make it easier on the residential taxpayers. I still don't buy it. I mean, the rate goes from 1522 to 1407. And so a lower tax rate is lower taxes for residents.
Kristen, can we?
Agreed.
I mean, we've heard it several times that a single rate would be cheaper and easier, and the math doesn't make sense to me.
One of the things we talked about was as the mall devaluation continues, we may get to the point where a single tax rate makes more sense. And my understanding is that's why we looked into it this year. And it does not yet, even though the mall did come down another
2 million.
$2 million.
And plus, I have an ATV case with them and Sears, so I don't know if we are going to settle, or we're gonna stay at this 2 million, or we're gonna go lower. I don't know. Unless we have that sale and,
Right,
yes,
but we're not at that breaking
Right.
point.
point, yeah,
And-
yes, so.
And then on the, as much as a bunch of slides, I don't see what the residential and CIP shift was for fiscal year 25. Or
1.49,
it was 1.49.
49. Last year, we voted 1.49, yes.
Does it have to be 145 or can we bin numbers below that?
You can, I looked at a number
'Cause
of
I was looking
numbers.
at numbers below that.
Okay,
That's. what
I
I'm
wasn't
asking.
looking at any numbers below that only because I know we need to back off, but we should probably do it gradually, so it's not as much of a shock. And because we had the $40,000 in additional new growth, that does help us. We also had some additional local receipts when we went and made the adjustment. I did go back and look at what we estimated the tax bill increase would be, which again, where's June with my estimate. So when we did the budget, we were basing this off of FY 25 numbers for FY 26. At the time, the average single family home for 25 was 660,000. The average 25 single family home tax bill was 9,363. And we estimated that would go up about $568 for FY 26. The good news, if you will, is the increase in local receipts, which we always do estimate conservatively, as well as the new growth, because we overestimated the year prior, has made it so I did from 1.5 to 1.45. I can do some quick math if need be. But basically, if you did a shift of 1.5, you have a tax bill increase of estimated $469. You go down to 1.45, you're at a $554 increase. So where I felt comfortable, because there's a little bit of relief, given we had the additional local receipts and new growth, was 1.47, which is about a $519 increase. So it comes in a little bit lower, but it backs us off the shift gradually, which makes the most sense to me, because at some point, as the mall devaluation continues, we've talked about needing to back off the shift as well. So it's not a huge jump in 1 year for residents. But you can go more if you would
The
like.
max is 1.
Right.
Yeah,
Sadly, somehow I thought we backed up more last year than
Yeah,
4.9.
yeah.
I believe last
So
year
we're-
was
we
around
were-
4.9, and it was like around 900.
So I had somewhere did I get that from Jason? Maybe I had 144. So that makes sense then.
There's also administrative burdens for the small commercial tax as well, and for potentially 7 properties.
Correct, but compared to last year, it's absolute.
Yep.
We're doing good this year.
The other thing, we are in a public hearing,
Right.
so you are welcome to take comments as well when you're ready.
Sure, we should make sure that clipboard gets to the back where people can sign in. There is a clipboard if people want to sign in to say something's on the public hearing, and it's at the front table. We'll try to get people in order. I want to comment that we did receive I think more emails on the tax policy than on any other topic I think I've been in my time here on the select board, which is great. I think that means that people are at least watching our hearings, and I think shows the benefit of having the meeting 2 weeks ago, where we just went over the policies and the impacts, and giving us all time to sort of think and plan and understand the impacts of the various decisions. I think that a total of 4 votes we ultimately need to take, and we'll take it at the end.
Yeah,
Yep.
I think it's worth noting, I I don't want to support the residential shift. I think we are not the right type of community for it. I think it was worth having the discussion, because I think we need to understand the tools at our fingertips and see whether they do apply. And when I asked, nobody understood that. I think we do now, and I think that's important, but I don't think we should do that.
And I'm at the point where I think it's still worth exploring more. I would like to find ways of making things a little bit more progressive, but I think it has both administrative burdens and timing burdens that we're just not ready for at the moment. And it might not be the right tool for what I want to get done anyway. And so I'm not going to generally be in favor of the residential. And I don't think you were even at the beginning of all of this. So if people were planning on talking about that and want to come forward and potentially argue that we should be exploring it more, that's at least where we stand at this point. We obviously will take the votes in a little bit. And then you had a recommendation, except I think
I gave it already.
1.4.
I would,
Right,
I would agree with you on the
1.47.
residential exemption,
Okay.
and mine is 1.7.
And-
One point four seven.
sorry, and then on the split
Nice,
tax rate.
Kristen.
I'm just gonna go,
Uh,
I'm gonna
on
make
this-
my own split.
Make my own
Right.
17. Mhm.
Can you tell me the percentage increase for both residential and commercial with 1.47? You have that?
I did it just for residential.
Okay.
I unfortunately did not do it on the commercial side.
What was it for residential?
Approximately, at 1.47 was $519.
No, the
Yeah, but it's
percentage.
percentage.
Oh, the percentage increase, I'm sorry. So that would be, if we're going off of. Was $9,363 was last year's average
So,
single family tax
6%.
bill. Thank you.
6%.
I figured someone could do that faster in their head than
It's
I
it's
could whip out
ballpark.
my
It's
calculator.
ballpark, but it's gonna get us close. I need to find the document that tells me the wording of the 4 motions we have to take.
It's the slide afterwards, I think.
Yes,
got 26.
Kristen,
26 is
Skips off.
one of the 4 votes.
I did neglect to give you one important piece of information, that $519, that's average single family home. The value of the average single family home is estimated at $714. So
Right.
you adjust up or down
Right, so-
depending on the value.
Right, the rate's a little bit lower, but the
The values
tax will-
have gone
The
up,
values have gone up, so the tax bill will still be up then.
correct.
Um. Sorry, I'm still looking for the wording of the 4 motions that we're supposed to make.
Show. Let's see.
That's not there either. I know the ballpark of the wording, and so we might have defixed the wording after the fact. Because the last slide is just is one motion, and that's one of the ones we're likely making. But that's the residential, but the split tax rate and the open space and the commercial exemption. So I do the,
Oh, sorry.
I was gonna start with the first vote. It's just the open space exemption or the open space, what's the right wording? Offset for the 25% that we do and have done historically for years. The open space discount.
So that would be an exemption of up to 25%.
5%. Mhm.
Yes.
Do you
For
want me
one
to
of
do
them.
this? I can get you the others.
Is that the open space?
Nope, I can get you the open space.
You can do that one first. I don't have a
Okay.
particular order. You can hit them in the order you bring them up.
I move that the select board not adopt the residential exemption under MGL chapter 59, section 5C for fiscal year 2026.
Seconded.
Is there any more discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. The open space one, yep.
Okay.
You're making
Okay,
the,
I move the select board adopt the open space discount under MGL chapter 59, section 2A for fiscal year 2026, granting up to a 25% discount on open space parcels as defined by statute.
Seconded.
all in favor? Aye. Personally, I'm torn about the commercial exemption. Just because of the amount of properties it actually impacts. And the extra work that goes with it. I'm thinking that several of the people who might qualify, are voting with their feet that it doesn't make as much of a difference and it's sort of not worth it if we've dropped from, it's gone down the last several years, the number of people who are actually even applying for it.
What was the drop, Linda, from?
Last year, we had 25 parcel. This year's only 7. Last year was 8 million and a half.
value.
This year, correct, we're not talking a dollar value, we're talking assessed value. This year it was 1 million. So it's a significant decrease, yes, between last year, 20, I'm here, 3 years now? So yes, this year is the
Is there anything about the process at all that's changed from the state, like the regulations that would impact people dropping off, or anything we do with the
Or
process?
the value went up on things and people just don't qualify anymore.
No, it's just admin procedures, but
There's also that the person who gets is the property owner, not necessarily the business owner.
correct,
In many of these cases, it's probably the property owner, business owners could be the same person.
correct.
But it might not necessarily benefit the business tons if the property owner gets a discount on their taxes and doesn't pass it down as lower rent to the business. And so I bet some of them, even a majority of them might still be, the owner of the land and the owner of the business are the same, but in some of them, it's probably not.
So in order to qualify, they would have to complete the paperwork, and I don't know the previous
Yep.
years. I'm here, 3 years, so I started this practice. I don't know how it was before. I cannot, but in order to get qualified, you would have to,
But still, that's a significant drop, 25
Yes.
to 7,
yes,
huge,
from 8 million to 1 million,
huge.
yes.
And unfortunately, you can't ask,
Right.
you can't call up and be like, hey, Bill.
You're
what did it-"
losing here.
Yeah, you're losing. What are you
So,
doing? Do we need to
But
have
10%
yeah.
of the commercial value, correct, yeah.
It's not a hill.
I
to
had a
die
couple
on.
of people come and what is this? Why? And I would say like, this would give you a break on 10%. Some hesitated, some no, I don't know why, but this is gonna be going forward every year. If they do not complete the small commercial application, then. And of course, I have to verify it.
I have no problem keeping this one.
Okay.
Just because
Yep.
maybe it does help those 7 small businesses.
Mhm.
Peg, did you?
No, I'm fine with that. Yeah, if the number's decreasing, I don't want to push it anymore. So next year, this time, you're like, well, we had 7 last year and now we don't have any. So, yeah, I'm fine, no changes.
I move that the select board adopt the small commercial exemption under MGL chapter 59, section 51 for fiscal year 2026, granting an exemption of up to 10% of the value of eligible commercial parcels.
Seconded.
If there's no debate, more debates, all in favor, say aye. Aye. And then
The fun one.
the last one, the fun one. We spent a lot of time on this one last year.
We did spend a lot of time on this one last year.
And last year it was a significantly higher increase to in terms of dollar amount increase to the tax bill. And we got a little bit of relief this year from the additional new growth and local receipts, which helps.
I think, Lisa, you're gonna take lead. Choose a number.
I do want to provide what relief we can simply because of the reval,
Right.
because I think people get hit really hard when the percentages of the property values go up that high. So I think we need to, obviously, I think we need the split tax rate, and I think we need to provide some sort of relief if we can. I was. I was basing it on different numbers, so the thing that I had is not gonna work. I was trying to balance sort of the percentage increase for commercial and residential, which is probably close because I think it was 5 point something percent was if they evened out, it was, so 6 is probably very close to what I had. So I'm not opposed to the recommendation of 1.47.
Well, I think that's it, and starts getting us, so if it had to go away, because we don't have enough commercial to make it viable anymore. Makes that a little bit easier to do.
Agreed. I mean, we're trying to do our very best for the town, you know, unfortunately, you look at other towns. We just don't compare, you know, other towns have more business, other towns provide more service, and unfortunately in Berlin. You want money to do things? Look to your left and look to your right. That's about where it's gonna come from. So if we can do anything to help the taxpayers, I'm also okay with the 1.47.
I move that the select board adopt a residential factor of 1.47 for fiscal year 2026, thereby establishing a split tax rate between the residential and commercial, industrial, and personal property classes.
Seconded.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, is
you.
there a motion to close the? Good. Sure, if you want to say something, you have to come up to the microphone, so the people at home and the recordings can hear you. Grab. Okay, we'll give up.
I mean, you
the-
couldn't get out of that chair fast enough, so you know, I appreciate that.
Yep.
So my name is Danielle Avery.
Yep.
That's better. Okay. I live at 244 Gates Pond Road, and I just wanted to comment, really on some things that were said during the last select board meeting that were in reference to my home and really were,
This has to do with the tax hearing?
this has to do with assessments. And it's my only opportunity to correct what was said.
Okay, we
So-
have public comment on general matters coming up later in the agenda, but if it's about
Oh,
tax
okay.
policy, feel free to continue.
No, I can do general matters. That's fine. I thought you were closing the
I'm
meeting
closing
altogether.
the tax hearing. So the rest of the meeting will continue after that. So
My
we'll
apologies.
call you up when we get to
Great,
go.
wonderful.
Yep,
Thank you.
it's fine. I can see how that can be confusing because we are closing a meeting even though the next meeting is continuing, so. Motion to close the tax portion of the meeting.
Motion to close the tax portion of the hearing.
Second.
Meeting.
All in favor? Aye. The general public comment will come up after the town administrator report. Yep. The next hearing is policy updates. The Council on Aging is coming to us with a couple of policies they would like us to adopt.
Thank you, Linda. Thank you,
Thank you.
Kevin.
Yep. Yep.
I think, Melissa, you're gonna give a bit of a general update to.
Yeah.
Department. Great.
Is there a preference of what I do first?
Nah,
Less painful.
yeah, whichever one you like.
Whichever one will generate less questions to you, and then we will build.
Then you will build from there. Okay. So the update, we will start with that. We have taken in $310 in donations. We have $2,000 in expenses. This is for July through current. And then I just wanted to do a little summary. We did send out a survey to about 1,200 residents of Berlin, looking for some information on what programs they would like to see, what opportunities they are looking for from the Council on Aging. We did get back 221 completed surveys, and we also received back 51 surveys from the USPS as undeliverable. So I was happy with the results of getting back 221. I thought that was good numbers. I do have a volunteer that will be tabulating the results. We were still kind of receiving some. I did not put an end date or a due by date. And so they were trickling in here and there, but we haven't seen any in a couple weeks. So he will be adding charts and graphs and getting us highlighting points. But I can tell you that we did have, field trips come in at number one for what people wanted, from the senior population. Yoga and Tai Chi during the week did come in second. I did speak to our instructors, and they thought it would be more beneficial to actually bring in a different class. So we have a strength and balance and a core class, in addition to our yoga and Tai Chi that were already happening. And those have been, well, the strength and balance has been well attended. That's on Fridays. And we're getting about 10 people for that class. The core class starts on this Thursday. And then they had monthly lunches, which is a little bit difficult where we don't have a serve safe kitchen. But I will work on getting some lunches catered in or donations from local restaurants to see if we can make that happen. The last one in the top 10 was Wills and Deeds. And I do have an attorney that I have reached out to see if he would possibly come in and do free hours. I have had somebody in my previous job that would do that. And then we also had transportation, which it did come in at number 19 on the list, but it was 40 responses. So I was pretty happy to see that as well. Out of the surveys that we received back completed, that is about 20% of the surveys needing transportation. So that was positive for me as we are working on van services. And then I do have, I pulled some numbers from my senior center, and we do have total sign-ins for the last 3 months have been 266 people have signed in for our events. The thing is, those are duplicated numbers. And so what it really is 62 people have been using our resources for a total of 266 sign-ins. So we definitely have some room to improve there on getting people to programs and engaged more with our programs. But I do have quite a few coming up. I don't want to list them all.
Melissa, what was the time frame on the 62 people and the 266?
It's July through July 1st, this fiscal year, July 1st. Yep.
Thank you.
Sure. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, we have Veterans Breakfast is also a big event that we have. We are seeing between 10 and 50, well, more like 12 to, I would say 18 people every month for that. We did have 2 new gentlemen come in this past month that saw it at 19 Carter. So our marketing is starting to get out there a little bit more. It is in the item. It is also in the church bulletins. So try to hit it from all angles for marketing purposes. But other than that, my main thing that I'm working on is the van and just trying to provide some fun activities. Next month I have a cookie exchange. I just did a chocolate tasting that had 11 people attend. So I think we're getting there. I think it's
I went to that,
becoming
it
more.
was really fun.
I got to eat some of the leftover chocolate. That was fun.
They were opened. I had to get rid of it.
It was on a day I really could use it, so thank you.
So I mean, that's I do I do have like I said, some events coming up, but I don't want to bog down everybody with, if they have questions, they can certainly contact me. They can, it is posted on our Facebook page. We do have it at 19 Carter. There's a list downstairs by the activity room, the COA space, so.
And Melissa has a list of an email list too, so you can get on
Yes,
that. to
I
contact
do.
her.
Yes, we have constant contact, so we will be emailing those out with the people that we have. That's
Yep.
pretty much all I have for updates for us. Now the fun part,
Yes,
the van.
go for it.
So we did have some policies that we voted on as the COA board voted on last meeting. And they were approved to be put into place unanimously by the board. We didn't change any of the actual policies themselves. They were just the formatting was the main thing that we had changed. So we did provide copies to have you vote on. We have the driver policies and procedures. We have the van itself, for the riders. And then we did have, two, appendices for a donation form as well as the rider agreement that were all voted on. So I don't know.
Do you have questions on any of them?
I have an overall one. I know, on some of these you have reviewed and updated. I'm a huge fan of change control. So maybe instead of somewhere in the top, it's on its last page that says version 1 approved, blah, blah, blah. Version 2 approved, blah, blah, blah. So that you could put the date down. So instead of just seeing reviewed and updated July 25th, you can actually kind of keep track of, oh, look, now we're on revision 35, in a
Okay.
year. So that's all it is just change control for all of them across the board.
Okay,
I can send the great chart, Lisa, that you came up with that we're using in our policy updates. I can send that over to you. It's
Okay.
like a nice little table. You can keep adding the versions and the changes
Perfect.
to it.
Yeah, because if we're gonna have policies and procedures by department, then it would be nice to have a consistency with ours too, to have that nice little control bar at the end.
Yeah, questions, Lisa?
No, I did the formatting.
Yeah,
So,
yes. We worked with our liaison.
I actually,
worked with ChatGPT.
Yeah.
and that if we end up adopting these tonight, you'd be able to get, there's not another barrier to getting the van operational, correct?
No, we have multiple candidates. Actually, we received, I think, 11 total resumes. We do have two very good candidates. Have not made offers to yet, because we're waiting on a
Mhm.
start date and making sure that everything was ready to go. But the van itself is ready. It's been inspected. There's gas in it. We're ready. I do have a schedule from 3 people, I'm sorry, have called me with dates of appointments that they already have.
Mhm.
So we do have bookings potentially for as soon as the 24th, but that's probably gonna be handled by Neshoba neighbors, but we're looking more towards next week. October 1st would be great.
And they fit with your proposed schedule.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
this proposed schedule is, yes, they're medical appointments, so really they take precedence over the in-town trips anyway. So we're just gonna try to fill what we have now. And I know we spoke a little bit about
Mhm.
trends, and the schedule may need to change a little bit based on what we're seeing. I don't want to keep Mondays for out of town if nobody's going out of town, if they have a better day. But I think that's something that we could certainly come back to, if we're seeing the trend and come back and get it approved, or I'm not sure if that falls under day-to-day. And we could just sort that with Kristen and the board, but
Did you determine a radius? I know that was one question.
yes. So we did. It's more, I compared to local, like Hudson and Clinton and what they do. And they typically go 2 towns out from where they are. And so for us, Leominster would be the furthest that we'd go. So it would be like Leominster, Sterling, West Boylston, and Worcester. I don't know, I have a map. I thought it was in the packet. And then we are going a little bit outside of the 2 towns going to Concord, but we do know that we have people that need rides to Concord, so I'm willing to
Mhm.
kind of shift a little bit there. But I think most will fall within that. We're not trying to go to Framingham. We're not trying to go into Boston. I think Worcester, Leominster, and Concord would hit most of where our people would be going. So I don't know, it's like mileage, it's more of
Mhm.
the
Yeah.
town itself.
How is gas paid for?
We can use the grant, the formula, I'm sorry, not the formula grant, the
No, so I
MCOA grant.
need to pull in and I need to fill up my tank because I'm at a quarter of a tank.
They have a gas card.
They have a gas card.
Mhm. And it gets billed to June, and then June lets us know what we owe from the COA.
So they
And we'll have
meaning the,
receipts.
they meaning the driver has a gas card?
Yeah,
Or-
it's in the van.
Okay,
Mhm.
so you can fill up anywhere.
I believe so.
Okay.
Yeah. But they should be doing, we do have on um, the form that we have for them for their pre-inspection.
Yeah.
And their end of day. We did say if it's below half a tank that they should be filling it. So if you're
Mhm.
coming in at the end, you shouldn't really be starting your day or having to worry about
Getting
half a
a tank of
tank,
gas.
yeah, or getting stuck anywhere. It should probably, most likely, I would say Berlin Auto, they would probably be the place that we fill most. Just of the location.
So now that you've said that the gas card is in the van, I'm going to assume that that van will be locked every night, or perhaps that gas card will be brought inside so that no one gets a sticky finger.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
it gets returned to me.
Okay,
Yeah,
So
so
it's
they'll
not-
have, the driver will have it, they'll have to bring the keys back as well
Okay.
as the gas card. Cause they'll have to come get their schedule each day. So I'll give them their schedule, the gas card and the key for the van.
and in the event you're not here, you get sick and you can't come in, what is a backup for? I gotta give Scott the gas card and the keys and his schedule.
We,
FAD.
yeah, we didn't discuss a backup for me.
I would think that would be our office, right?
Do we
Would that be
have,
you guys?
when we can get one?
I
or, mean,
yeah, I can get you a key for my cabinet that
we have,
locks.
we do have a key into all offices, so if we had a key to the
I
file.
could just tell
cabinet,
you
that
where
would
it
work
was.
Too.
Yeah,
But then how
Also-
would you get access to the schedule?
I thought you
It
were
has
talking
to be
gas card.
print-
Oh,
Printed.
So, yeah, card, key, schedule.
It'd be helpful to have another person in the office,
Well-
but I won't go there right now.
Well, I think I would print the schedule the day before.
Okay,
So we know the schedule we're asking for 48 hours. So if it's a Wednesday I should realistically have that printed on Monday. So they would then be able to see it 2 days before. I can at least give people a heads up of what their route looks like. So I should be able to print it prior to any unfortunate sickness that I'm not planning.
well, I know that, but things happen, you wake up and you feel like.
Oh, yeah, of
God,
course.
And you don't want to infect the
Mhm.
rest of us, so. I don't want you to feel
So
like you
stay home.
have to come in, yes, stay home.
Steve Shartner, by the way, is weighing in that the gas cards are user code specific. You have to input the mileage in a specific code that each user has on those cards, and he can get somebody a card in case there is a need.
Sweet, thank you, Eric.
Thank you.
Is there a motion on the policies?
Motion to approve the policies.
I will also approve the policies. Seconded.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. You have policies and a map.
Thank
and
you very
drivers.
much.
Look at this.
And I'm off and running. Thank you very much, you guys.
Thank you. Let's see, the last hearing is the Town Center redesign and conceptual plan discussion and possible vote. And I don't believe we have a presenter for this, right?
We do not.
Right.
I believe it came down to, there were three kind of issues that were discussed. The crosswalk being moved closer to the church, the sidewalk, which side of Woodward does the sidewalk go on? And why am I drawing a complete blank on the third one?
Parking in front of the general.
Yes,
store.
sorry, which the parking in front of the general store has been resolved. I'm pleased to report that I spoke with the engineers. They will be having a 10-foot shoulder. So we were off by 2 inches. We will not be going forward, and I have reached out to legal counsel. I have not heard back yet. I will reach out again about where we're at with those 2 inches that we're short right now in terms of legal liability. And the crosswalk, there were a number of issues to be addressed that the engineers provided an overview of in the packet that really would prohibit that crosswalk from being moved.
So for the general store, how did we go from 2 inches short to we're okay?
When they repave everything, there was enough to make it 10 feet wide. Not right now, but once everything is put out and repaved. Laid out and repaved, sorry, not put out.
So really, we have 2 things to vote on now because the third issue is sort of self-resolved.
It
And so,
has
so
self-
we're trying to get a sense of the select board on our feelings of moving the crosswalk, the one that is over by the cemetery and the Bullard House.
Yes.
And I think the more contentious one is what side of the road the sidewalk goes on Woodard.
Right. And if it's helpful, since I just gave a terrible explanation of why you couldn't move the crosswalk, I have a bit more specific information. It has to do with stopping sight distance, or SSD. The required procedure do not use speed limits. They use a combination of design speed and the 85th percentile speed that are observed when traveling under normal conditions. So if the vehicles are routinely exceeding the speed limit, you don't want to use the lower speed limit designation, because when you know many of those vehicles won't be able to stop in that same distance that a 25-mile-an-hour vehicle could. So for this location, the lowest speed you would consider using in determining that SSD is 30 miles an hour. That's where that 30-mile-an-hour came from. It's also in looking at the horizontal and vertical curves and where the best possible place for visibility from approaching westbound and eastbound would be. If you move it east, the visibility from the west worsens. If you move it west, the visibility from the east worsens. So it seems that this placement was strategically put in order to allow for the best possible visibility from both sides of the traffic coming in and out.
Are we ever going to get that blinking sign that just blinks and no one pays attention to fixed? So that I can actually, if I walk across the street, I can actually bang the button so that cars coming either way will see that I'm attempting to not play chicken and run across the road?
Let me check it out. I will find out for you and I'll get back to you.
And I did come up with an idea, a potential idea to try to sort of make everybody happy. I think,
Bricks on either side?
yeah, I think we need sidewalks on either side. I think we do. I think we need to phase the project. I think we need to put the residential side in first and use the grant that we have and utilize the time frame that we have for that grant, which is relatively quick. I think we planned phase 2 for the other side by the church, and we applied for the second Complete Streets grant for that. It gives us time to fix the septic issue. It gives us time to work with the church for the easement. If we don't get the easement, then it just doesn't happen, but I think maybe given time, that can happen. So yes, I want both.
You can't have both. You can only have
I
one.
can't have both right now, but I can maybe have both if we. do
That's right.
this.
You can have it right, or you
Yep.
can have it right now.
You
Which
just
one
have
would
to
you
be-
like?
Yes.
Because in order to, you would need, one of the things I had been thinking about was, is there a way to do like an alternate to, kind of cost it out and see how much it would be on either side? Then we'd have to go forth with 2 full 100% designs. So it would cost us a lot up front on the design plan. So unfortunately, that idea that I thought.
Half
might
the
work.
sidewalk on one side and half the sidewalk on the other?
No, no.
Alternating.
So.
With a crosswalk in between, so you.
There
can
you
I
go.
don't think, I think.
Your
I think
idea.
right
Trish,
now our
yeah.
only choice is to go forward with the residential side. I really do, but I think we can have the other one over time.
And there is a Complete Streets prioritization plan that we plan to continue applying for future funds from. That is something that can be amended. We can figure out what that process is with the state. And we plan to continue to go out in sort of almost concentric circles from the center and continue to fix crosswalks, sidewalks, intersections as we go.
The sidewalks on both sides will require a bigger easement. Because they were gonna
Mhm.
move the road onto that residential easement for the sidewalk, but. I mean, if you're already asking for a little bit of an easement, potentially
We
asking
might
for
as
more
well ask
easement.
for enough to make it what everybody actually wants. Because I can tell you, when I sat down and talked to some of the neighbors, their preference would be both. You know, it would be both, and if they can't have both, then they want one, no matter what side it's on, even if the preference may be the church side, they don't want to lose the project.
Mhm.
And where is the church in all of this? Since they're kind of like the linchpin for the corner.
You were at the church council meeting, weren't you?
Tim was at the church
Yeah.
Oh, I
council
thought you were there, sorry.
meeting. And my understanding is there was listening and willingness to discuss going forward, and I was referred to Stan, who is the
Head guy.
chair or
Mhm.
president of the council. There wasn't any sort of ideas on timeframes given or whether they were amenable to it or not. But Tim did actually say that the flagpole and the clock also need to be discussed in the septic. So there are a number of issues that need to be
Yeah.
figured out.
Which will take time to iron out.
Also,
And as much as
the
I
septic is gonna
generally
take-
prefer it on the church side, that it's time we don't necessarily have or we lose this potential grant.
I'm a little concerned about time. I mean, they have a lot to sort out too at the church with regard to their current structural issue. I don't know, it's a decent strip of land that we would need an easement for, and I don't know if that would be willingly donated or potentially could come at a cost. Because they do have issues with that property and the building that need to be addressed, so.
I don't think we necessarily should expect anyone to just give
Give
things,
land.
especially
Sure.
of that sort of size.
And that, so
And
that's.
it'd be
another
interesting to
piece.
try to find a way to have a even discussion without weird conflicts of interest of people who have been involved in government, town government, and been involved in the church. And I mean, it's that church property has been part of the town since sort of our founding and the splitting in the 1850s and still messiness there. It would be really great at some point to sit down and figure out all the entanglements and come up with a plan to disentangle all of them.
Yes.
So truly,
Yep.
if we did nothing and waited for church input, we lose grant. We lose the money,
Likely,
You can ask for extensions.
but it's.
but
not
they
gonna
want to
be
see,
good.
but they want to see they want to see that we're actively pursuing things and not in just
Chatty.
or just not
Well-
easy to get out of.
And I think too, by getting this one done, we have a record to apply for the next one. If we're
Mm.
messing this one up, then it's harder to apply for the next one.
And what about the concerns that were raised in regard to the mailboxes and also, oh my God, there's a sidewalk that I have to back out of in my driveway?
Well, I do think, and I did talk to folks about that a little bit, and it is, I mean, sidewalks have driveways. I
Mhm.
think that's kind of how they
You're
work.
not gonna
I
go
don't-
off the edge. They're gonna
Yeah.
bevel it down.
It's-
So I'm
and
not
yeah,
just
it's
like
gonna be a
backing up and
nice-
dropping. Right,
So I
But
don't,
it's also if the sidewalk's on the other side of the road is that much closer to their property.
correct.
And so, where they're merging into traffic is still about the same.
yeah. And there are other issues too with just having the sidewalk on the church side. You're sort of routing everybody through the cars, which isn't safe. So you're
Mhm.
funneling everybody through the cars. There are a number of safety things that go with having it on the church side. Where it would be better, once again, if you did the residential side first.
Tim did speak to the postmaster about those mailboxes. About 3 people use them. They come up in a car because they live not there. They live on West Street in Carterville or on Pleasant Street. So,
Awesome.
But it's
the
complicated, I think, to get
mailbox.
them
yes,
fixed too. They've tried,
So
I know
you'd have to
Becca
work on
has
that.
tried. I know too, she had some great ideas of just us improving signage, whatever sidewalk we put in, improve the signage so that people are funneling the right way. Improve, like, there's a lot of infringement during events onto the residents' property. If we can improve signage or improve, fences or whatever, that would also be helpful, I think, to the residents.
When do we have to decide what way Woodward goes? Or does Woodward only go one way?
I think there's
Or
only
which way?
one.
Yeah.
I think there's only one option for that.
If
That
you
way.
listen to
Yeah.
highway and public safety, that north, towards Carter, yes. North towards, that's north, right? Towards Carter Street. I am
I don't
literally
know if it's north.
directionally disinclined. I'm
1870
so
on
sorry.
which side? Left side or right side?
Left side.
Which way am I doing?
Thank
There
you.
you go.
See, I'm a landmark person, so
Okay.
you don't.
Well, that's a
wanna-
nice visual, because
drive
it's
in
hard to
that
do
direction.
north and south, so
Thank
I'm
you.
driving with Town Hall on my left,
Driving toward Carterville.
right,
Yeah.
towards the library.
Towards the library, yes. And then, we talked about how like the turning radius and things like that would
Because of
work,
the
and
pole.
also what makes an easier turn for fire and EMS, and coming up Woodward, going that way rather than going down to Carter and coming back up makes it a little bit easier for fire chief, I know Fred was in agreement. I think Chief Shartner, felt, there wasn't a huge preference on the police side, but he understood it, I think, as I'm speaking for him from a public safety perspective, so. And that one didn't seem to have really a huge preference which way it went from the stakeholders. I didn't get a strong sense one way or another.
I think everybody agreed one way.
Yes,
Yeah.
but which way, it kind of makes sense, I think, to listen to the public safety and highway folks.
In the other road, which I can't even think of the name of it. The one over there, so your church is on the left. What's that road?
That-
Woodward?
Walnut? Is that Walnut? What road is that?
Carter?
Carter, thank
I was gonna
you.
say, I thought it was
okay.
Carter.
Hello.
I thought it was Carter and it just.
There was nothing going on.
She made me doubt Carter.
No, Peg, it's.
I know it's Carter. I know it's Carter. That will remain both ways?
Yeah.
Traffic?
Yes.
Okay,
And
thanks.
so it sounds like sort of the votes to keep things moving tonight are really crosswalk and sidewalk.
Yes,
And
and confirm if you were in agreement with the direction on Woodward, which
Yes.
would be very helpful. That way we can come up with the concept plan, one that will go to a larger public
Yep.
meeting for review. Because we can't obviously continue to design 3 plans at this point.
make a motion.
You want me to do 3 different ones or? no?
I think it put them all in one.
One at a time.
Oh, one at a, Peg says one at a time.
So I move to have Woodward go in the direction that is recommended by highway and the public safety.
Seconded.
More discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 I move to go with the engineering recommendation for the crosswalk because I think there are serious safety issues,
So not to move it.
Right.
not to move it.
I will second that.
I totally agree. Safety is what scared me. It's a weird spot. I get that it would be more practical if it wasn't, but
You can't see around that.
you
corner.
can't see around that corner and no, I agree.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I move to do the residential side now with the intent to do the church side at a future date if there is a an easement with the church is workable.
Right, and continue working with the church on that
Mhm.
sort of easement stuff, so that when we're ready for it, it's ready.
And
Yep.
those other issues.
Second.
Any more discussion? All in favor? Aye. Great.
Thank you.
So what are next steps, Kristen?
So I will report back to the engineers, have them prepare a more final-ish concept plan. Again, still a conceptual plan, doesn't mean that it's final. And then we were talking about doing a public forum, I believe, late October, early November, I think is what they said when they came, to keep us on track with the timeline. And I'll get a sense of dates and which weeks we're at, and then at the next board meeting, we can talk about where, and
Mhm.
might be nice to do it over at 1870.
I think, I'm sure they will know this, but there are some slight tweaks, teeny stuff that has to happen if we're gonna do both sides, but it's nothing major.
Yep, I will make sure to.
Right,
mention
they
that
could
to them.
do a design that
It
doesn't
just- you have to do this-
preclude two
Yeah,
sides. Yep,
that's
yep.
exactly what it is. You
Yep.
don't wanna preclude the other side being.
And will you get back to us about the non-functioning constant blinking? I don't see it.
Will do. Is that at both of the crosswalks, or is it at the one that's closer to?
It's just.
It's the one
Carter
closer to the
Street.
cemetery.
Oh, cemetery.
Oh, closer
Right
to
at
the
the
cemetery,
cemetery.
closer to
That is a
Woodward?
blanket plan?
Okay.
Yes, it has a blinking yellow light that has blinked for a number of years. You don't even see it anymore.
I am.
Got it.
If I could ask the indulgence of the fellow select board members, I am thinking of, it might make more sense to do general public comment before the town administrator report. And I might do that even going forward, as we've been playing around with the best spot on the agenda.
Sure.
Because you have been waiting patiently for your turn, if you want to come forward and make your comments.
Very interesting. I'm glad I came.
Yes.
So, yeah, so the comment that I want to make really is just about some things that were said at the last select board meeting, which I wasn't at, but I was watching. And I just want to correct them. So the situation with the assessment, on my property, is basically that in June, the assessor's office confirmed the square footage was incorrect, that there were about, basically it was my garage square footage that was being counted as first floor square footage and then also being counted again as finished basement square footage. So, it resulted in an overtax that we've been paying since we've owned the home in 2021. And one of the things that came up in that last meeting was that, oh, well, the taxpayer has to check and they should check their tax bill. I did. It's just that was not an obvious error because when you look at the diagram on, the property card, the measurements are all accurate, but then the square footage was duplicated and then misclassified. So even when I started to realize that something was wrong, it took me hours to figure out where the mistake was. I mean, I was sitting there doing math before, like, it took me just a very, very long time because I'm not an expert and it wasn't obvious at all. So anyway, I requested that the assessor's office file a clerical error abatement with the Department of Revenue, which is how they would be able to correct past taxes. And they were supposed to vote on it at this meeting, but then that got cut short a little bit because everyone wanted to come to this meeting. So they haven't actually taken a vote on that yet, but what I heard in the last select board meeting really is why I'm here today. So throughout this process, I've kind of felt like the things that have been raised are either like unrelated or just like minor in comparison to the tax impact that this had. But in the last meeting, they were actually inaccurate. So it was publicly stated in this meeting that the assessors attempted entry to my home on 3 occasions. And we've owned the home since 2022. They've only visited once, or 2021, I'm sorry, they visited once in 2022. It was to close out a pool permit. I personally answered the door to Joanne. I recognized her when I came to visit the assessor's office, and she asked to go around the back to the backyard. I let her do that. She never requested to come in the house at that time.
I'm sorry, did she mention your address? I don't remember.
Oh,
like,
I'm sorry.
was
I
there-
did last time and I don't know if
No,
I said it again.
During the hearing, I don't remember the address.
Because there are,
They
I'm
didn't
just
say
wondering
the
how you came to the conclusion
Yeah,
it was about
so-
you.
she specifically stated that it was garage square footage that was
Oh.
being calculated as first floor square footage.
That could be a number of properties.
Is it
I- I
Well,
don't
anyway.
know.
In the
Yeah,
last
yeah,
meeting
yeah,
we
yeah,
had,
yep, yep.
it seemed
Yeah.
like
Yep.
they were not
Okay.
denying that it was about me.
Yes.
Okay.
And the
Yeah,
assessors
I didn't
meeting.
know. I was just curious because I didn't even remember the specifics, so I wouldn't have known it was
Yeah,
anybody's.
I mean,
property.
there
thought
may
it wa-
be
I thought it
other-
was just a random example.
yeah, no, and there may be other properties that garage square footage has been counted in that way, but when we just had the last meeting, it did not seem that they were denying that they were discussing my property. So anyway, the visit, 12/5/2022 is the only visit that they ever made during our ownership, and that is documented right on the property card. And then the other suggestion was that they said something along the lines of that they found out there was a finished basement and there was no permit. And again, that's just not the case. We've been taxed on finished basement square footage, actually overtaxed on finished basement square footage since we've owned the home. And both the kitchen and the finished basement were part of the original build. I have all of the permits with me, I have the building plan that shows the number of baths and the dishwasher in the basement and the kitchen sink in the basement. That's all there. So to say that they discovered that there was a basement and an extra kitchen is just, it's inaccurate, and it paints a picture of me that I was not cooperative with the assessor's office. Which just isn't true. And it also makes it look in a public forum like we have this basement that we didn't have permits for. Which is also untrue. So I just wanted to set the record straight there. Thank you.
Yep, thank you. Thanks for coming.
Thank you for coming in.
Yep. Town administrator report.
Open it up. So a lot going on. As we know, fall town meeting is coming up, and believe it or not, we're in FY 27 budget season already, which I'm still in disbelief about. We have reached out to boards, committees, and departments with the warrant close date of October 6th and information on how to submit articles. But as a reminder, deadline is October 6th. And we need the article as well as the description in order to make it onto the warrant. So we will be providing you with our updated list of everything, hopefully that we receive, although we didn't give a deadline. So technically we could receive something at 11:59 PM after your next select board meeting on October 6th, but we'll give you what we have at the next meeting. And then I have drafted a budget calendar for FinCom and department presentations before FinCom, and reached out to the chair about scheduling our first meeting date. Also reached out to Anna Crane, Chair of Capital. We want to get those capital forms out shortly as well. Just another quick reminder, as we continue to work with Eric Kinshirf's consulting firm to close out FY 25, we are not sure if free cash will be certified by the state in time for fall town meeting. And if not, any items utilizing free cash or public safety mitigation funding will need to wait until annual town meeting in the spring. But they have been doing a fabulous job assisting us. The reason we were able to have the tax classification here tonight is in no small part thanks to June and Kathy, who have been working round the clock. And we got some help as well from the outside firm. But you know, many thanks to you guys for all the work that you put into it. We would not be here without the finance team that we have that does a fantastic job. So I just wanted to say thank you for that. And now we're on track to get the tax bills out. Looks like the first full week of October. So somewhere between the 6th and 10th. So we are in a good space there. Let's see, 1870 Town Hall. I did sign the proposal for the septic to go forward with the testing that needs to be done. And I'm working on the contract with HSH and the required access agreements that we'll need from both the church and the neighbor next to 1870, who also shares that septic system. I hope the fourth time is the charm for the contractor with the demo of the former fire and rescue buildings. I'm starting to lose a little bit of hope here, but the gentleman did come out on Thursday and agreed to provide a scope of work. I did reach out to him today. I did not hear back, but the fire chief did, and he said he might want to get into the building again, which is absolutely fine with me, and seems like he's still on board. So fingers crossed, this is our fourth contractor. Green Communities grants. As I mentioned, we wrapped up Green Communities and are in the process of looking at the fall grant, which is due in October. The Energy Committee has recommended applying for funding for HVAC upgrades at BMS, specifically the second floor to start with, which is really hot. And we did have a call with the state and CMRPC last week to talk about the project. And there is a possibility, although we thought we were closer to 200,000 in Green Communities funding, and Kelly Brown at the state confirmed we can actually apply for up to 250,000 because we haven't hit what they're calling the Millionaires Club, $1 million in funding yet. So we may not need a small contribution from the town, but I did put a placeholder just in case. Again, would have to be free cash and would have to be certified. The problem we're having is there's been a lack of responsiveness there again from contractors that were recommended by the state on the preferred vendor list. And so it may delay the project to the spring funding round. We're still trying. I am working with the schools on this. I working with the facilities director, and I had a conversation with the superintendent of schools today. and did stress the urgency of the time frame on this, and he said that he'd be on it, so. One other on the horizon is line painting in town. I know this is very exciting. Single and double yellow center lines and single white edge lines. Was able to get an IFB or invitation for bid done for Fred last week. And it all got published in the Central Register, Combis everywhere, Telegram, everywhere it needs to be at townofberlin.com. I do have to, it does have to come through me because I have to keep track of everybody who gets the document in case there is an addendum. The bids are due October 8th at 11 a.m. and interested bidders can reach out to our office for more information. We would like to welcome Christine Peterson, who has been selected as the property lister for the assessor's office to replace Joanne, who retired. She will be starting on September 29th. Interviews are underway for the full-time firefighter EMT position that is open. And the 11th police officer is several weeks into the police academy and doing well by all accounts. We did have a department head meeting in addition to some of the one-on-one meetings that I've started working on. We did discuss the dress code and sick leave protocols, meaning if you're sick, you should not be on here, which I think is sort of obvious, but it does create a couple of issues with public safety in terms of light duty and what the CBA calls for. So it's something I'm speaking with the chiefs about how to work. There's also, if somebody's out injured on duty, the camaraderie of being able to be at the station with folks, depending on the nature of the injury, may make sense. So I've added that as a discussion for the next union contract negotiations as well. But in terms of non-union employees, if you're sick, please don't come in. I also will be working on updating my goals to bring it forward to you guys in an upcoming meeting. I have not gotten as far as I would like to, just because there's been so many other things going on, but I'm going to touch base and see where we're at there. I have been meeting with John Blumack regularly from, he's representing REC to do the South Common Field renovation project. And we finally received the radio project phase 3 quotes. So I can submit them to USDA for approval on the procurement side. And this is the final phase of the radio project, which includes the 3rd antenna site on the south side of town and portable radios for public safety. So I'm really hopeful that we can get that done. Also, in light of the fact that I've been chair for 3 years and there's a lot going on, I have stepped down as chair of the Neshoba Valley Regional Dispatch Admin Board and handed the torch over to Mike Johns of Boxborough, who will chair, as well as Marie Solivaro of Bolton, who will be the vice chair. So give me a little more time to focus on everything going on in here. And last but not least, I actually received notification today that we have been approved for a .gov domain from the federal government. I submitted an inquiry because FEMA is going to be requiring everyone have a .gov domain to access their online portal in the upcoming either this year or next year. So in speaking with the emergency management director and CM Geeks, found out that there is a site you can actually apply for this from, and the domain berlinma.gov was available, all one word. So I wasn't sure if that would be approved. It was. So now we can have a broader conversation at the next board meeting if we'd like to change over the town's website and email addresses from a .com to a .gov account. We can also, according to CM Geeks, do aliases like we're doing now, so that if people continue to email folks who have had long-standing email addresses here, they will still get the email. And that's it.
FinCom is at 5 members?
FinCom, no, just 4 right now. Scott, Heidi, Sheena, and Mary. Cliff resigned.
I thought there was a 5th that came to the meetings I thought was approved. Was
There was when we had Cliff. So
Okay.
Sheena was voted, but then Cliff resigned. So we do have an opening on FinCom. This would be a good time to get started.
Right, I was gonna say it, so if there are people watching who would like to be active in FinCom, they reach out to
They reach out to Barry, the
Right.
moderator makes the appointment.
Right.
I can sort of sometimes be able to help make that connection. They can send me an email and I can reach out, but if you know Barry well, the best thing
Yep.
to do is approach Barry.
And
And
attend the meeting too, I
Yeah,
think would be a
I think,
good,
yeah.
a good
Yes.
call.
yeah, you can
Definitely
attend the meeting, get to know the other members, because they can also help get through the bureaucracy of appointments that can be confusing because different committees have different processes to get their appointments through.
Absolutely, and we haven't set a date for the first kickoff meeting yet, but I proposed, give you the date. Just kind of keep an eye out on My Town Gov. It's early October.
Yep.
And it's always on a Wednesday. What was it? 15th. Thank you. Got too many dates swimming around in my head. October 15th, we're proposing. I'm just waiting to confirm everything up with the chair.
I have a few questions.
Go ahead.
In the event the vendor doesn't come through for the demolition, what is Plan B? I mean, the town approved that money. We voted way long ago to take those buildings down, and yet there they sit.
They do. So one thing that we did was reach out through STAM, which is the Small Town Administrators List, for sample IFBs for building demolition. And I can try to muddle through it as best as I can. We can use ChatGPT. There are very specific, unique things to that building with regards to lead paint and
Mhm.
asbestos, and the contractor who came by said you don't want to take the lead off first because that would be an exorbitant amount of money. There is a way to demo the building with the lead and dispose of the lead properly. So the problem is nuances like that,
Mhm.
I wouldn't know and wouldn't be able to write into a scope.
Okay.
So any contractor who's out there and listening, or if you know of a contractor who would like to provide a scope of work, you will also be eligible to bid on the project.
Okay. Could you please provide the process to make sure that the citizens petition that is planned for November is actually on the warrant?
Yes, so we received a citizen's petition. Someone I've never heard of before. We received a citizen's petition, so that automatically goes on the warrant, does not require a vote of the select board. It is a zoning citizen's petition, which means when the town clerk receives it, typically she works with the planning board to figure out dates of hearings, because the planning board will want to weigh in on a zoning citizen's petition. But it is automatically added to the warrant without a vote of the select board because the signatures that were required, number of signatures were met and verified by the town clerk.
In all openness, that citizens petition is me. There seems to be some conflict of information that I received from our town clerk as to the process. I know that tomorrow on the planning board meeting, it just says town meeting warrant, so I plan on attending to make sure that it makes it onto the warrant.
I can speak with Eloise tomorrow and try to,
Right, citizen
Square
petitions,
away.
because even if the select board was 100% opposed and planning board was 100% opposed, it still goes,
goes on.
it still has to go on the warrant.
You
I
got your
think,
signatures, so
right.
it's mandatory
right,
that it goes
it's
on there.
mandatory that it's on the warrant. I think, we will, I think when we look at the warrant, we'll go through our warrant articles and decide our
Okay.
opinions on them, the ones we're allowed to have opinions on, and planning will probably do the same.
They have never been told that a citizen's petition
Yeah.
could not go on a warrant unless for some
That's
reason it
all.
did not meet the number of signatures.
Right.
When the town clerk certifies it.
The whole purpose of citizen petitions is so that you can get around if there was a
Correct.
barrier at some elected body, you can still get on the agenda, so.
What is the status of the AED installation? I know that we ran into quite a few problems with open permits and expired license.
We
So
did.
where are we with that?
I have received the updated current license as well as insurance and the quote. What I am waiting for, the contract, the electrician had a number of open permits with the town that they are in the process of closing out. And once the electrical inspector tells me those are all set, then they are good to go.
So those AEDs are safely in the hands of fire and not to be released.
That is correct.
And do you have any update on where you were talking about South Commons? Any information on the pavilion relocation? How is that being factored into the whole redesign? Because I'm sure where they want to drop it could impact what they want to do.
Yeah, I have not heard anything on the pavilion from Recreation in a long time. I was waiting for a scope from them similar to on the playground.
Okay.
The concern I did speak with Tim Wheeler because he was asking for an update on CPA projects. They are trying to figure out what to do because the funding is now older and may not be a sufficient amount of funding for that project. And there's also some discussion about options and, like you mentioned, location and things of that nature. So my understanding was CPA or CPAC was going to reach out to Recreation to discuss the project.
On the same note, what happened when they visited the old highway barn? Since that was a
Didn't get an
potential,
update from that.
okay,
Let me
that's
get an
the
update.
potential for that pavilion, so.
That was Planning Board and Historical Commission that went,
I think
right?
So.
Yeah.
Okay, let me get an update.
I think from my quick conversations with him, it looked like it had potential. Some of the structural stuff is still above the tiles, so you're not 100% sure. But I think it has a lot of merit to it. It is an older building that it would, although I was originally in favor and still would love it either moved, but tearing it down because it's an 1899 building
Mhm.
to find a way. And it's been moved to that site from other sites. And so it was moved once, not as one structure because that building is too big it could be moved again. And you do it a little bit differently. So it has fewer walls and exterior potentially, but it could make a nice pavilion. But you'd have to find the location, of course, and
Yeah, sure.
I'm sure there's some rule somewhere about an 1899 building not being up to code for something, but I think it's worth
Can
exploring.
fix that on
Yeah.
fix that when you take
Yeah.
it apart and put it back together.
Is that your list of questions?
That's my list of questions.
Lisa?
Those are good questions.
Thank you.
I don't have anything on the,
The only thing I might want to reiterate something that you said, which is great, is the tax bills are going out on time, which has not been true the last couple of years. And so people who might be expecting November, December, or January tax bills because we've been late getting them out, they're going out the first or second week of October and will be due 30 days afterwards. And so
No Christmas surprise,
right.
which people don't like, but also
It-
due earlier as they are
It'd be a-
supposed to be.
Veterans Day surprise or
There you
something like that. But yes, we're back on schedule, and so people should be planning accordingly.
Yes.
And that was my list. My browser keeps crashing, so I've had to reopen it several times and find where agendas are. And look, my agenda's not back up again.
Do you need mine? Yeah.
consent
Now
agenda.
yeah, consent agenda, I thought was next.
Mhm.
Let's get back to, there we go. So the consent agenda, which are items that we generally do, are there anything that either of you would like to pull off consent agenda?
I just wanted to note that there was a quick typo in the thank you letter. It was just missing a 2, which I put in on the one up there, but I'm assuming you printed it out. It was in like the last line in the,
Let me print out thank you for finding the typo. I used ChatGPT too.
yeah,
So
it didn't
Yeah.
catch it, so it was just missing it.
Maybe I changed, it might have been something I changed after because I did read it, so.
And so I'll read the items on the consent agenda for the people watching and people who don't have the agenda in front of them. It is the approving the minutes of September 8th, 2025, the appointment for the Council of Aging of a driver, correct? No, it took appointment to the Council of Aging, sorry. The new
Yes.
Council of Aging is Derek Chavez. Donation of scrap wood valued at less than $50 from Peg Stone. A thank you letter to the Boylston Highway Department for their assistance during the storm that happened recently, and designation of Weston and Sampson to conduct investigation and perform inspections on the behalf of the Earthworks Board, which currently is also the Select Board.
So will work continue? Until those investigations are started, conducted, completed?
This is just designating them. This has no
Okay.
impact on anything that might or might not be currently going on in town.
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second, can I second them? Cause I'm in there.
I will second them.
Okay, so I will okay, thank you for doing
Yeah.
that.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Can I abstain on one of them?
Yeah,
I'm gonna abstain on C.
yeah, officially,
You
Meg is
have to
abstaining.
abstain on the Thing, I think technically, but,
It is, Peg is abstaining on, her donation of the town accepting the $50 of scrap wood that she's donating to, it was for.
For fire.
Yeah, for the fire department.
thank you for doing that.
Other business.
Did we aye?
Oh, sorry, yeah, we eyed,
Okay.
because she
I
had the
didn't remember
conversation
aye.
about that
Okay.
her eye was sort
I
of,
thought we were-
sort of
I was
conditional.
blind.
Okay, so
Yes.
Blind, there you go.
she took her eye back.
I took
Yes.
my eye back.
She took her eye back.
Send it to
and-
her eye.
You
Mhm.
can tell we're getting very close to 8:30.
Yes. Other business, veterans parking signs at municipal office and Purple Heart signs, locations to be determined.
Yes, so I was approached by our Veterans Service Officer who said that the state is willing to give us 4 Purple Heart signs, and those typically go on entrances to town. So was looking for a little bit of feedback from the board. 62 was obviously discussed, but perhaps where the other locations should be. Or in and out, I guess you could put it flipped both ways on Route 62 if you wanted. We are a Purple Heart community already, so that did not require a vote of the select board. And the state is also wanting to do give us a veterans parking sign. And the recommendation was to put it at the municipal offices in the front of the building next to the accessible parking spaces. Just wanted to get the board's feedback on that and if you had any recommended locations or don't like the locations.
I think you should stick them on any entering Berlin sign, and one of them is on Boylston Road. So coming either from Boylston or from Clinton.
You hit there, 62 on either end as you're entering town and, by the Solomon Pond Mall.
Definitely by the mall, because you've got a big welcome to Berlin sign there.
Yep. I believe they have their own post. I'll have to check because he's already communicated with Fred. Jim
Okay.
has already communicated with Fred. So they were working out how to appropriately put it up. So you said Solomon Pond, what did you say about, you said?
It's on Boylston Road. Yep. So you get those coming from Clinton and those coming from Boylston.
Okay.
Area.
You fine with that, Lisa? Does that require a vote?
No, well, if you're in agreement, we were just looking for some
yeah.
feedback.
Changing the select board meeting from Monday, October 20th to Tuesday, October 21st. Mostly because on Monday, October 20th, I think neither Lisa or I are around. And so if we have it on the 20th, Peg would be by herself and unable to conduct business because she's the only one there.
You wanted, it wouldn't matter because there's no quorum.
Right,
Doesn't matter.
right.
You put all
Okay.
kinds of things that won't hold.
I know, but I'd have fun.
You're back by the 21st. I'm not back yet by the 21st.
Oh, I am, there's something else on the
Okay,
20th. I'm
okay.
back on the 15th. so,
Okay. Is there a motion to move it from the 20th to 21st?
So moved.
And seconded.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Discuss the select board and town administrator sort of committee board authority. This is sort of your issue from last week about how to support boards doing the right thing.
And not support people doing the wrong thing.
Right.
I mean, so yeah, just as a quick summary for all those watching, there have been several instances by different committees and or people on committees that and or groups in town, not necessarily town committees, that seem to have a distinct disregard for anything that we put as a policy or procedure. And I'm just looking for something that we can do. And I know that sounds harsh, something that we can do, but if we're going to continue to make policies that no one adheres to, or some people don't adhere to, why bother making them? And I know last time Kristen and you know, Lisa had thrown in some comments too about what we could do. And to me, these are not children that are doing these offenses. They're adults. And I am a great supporter of hey, this is what you've done. Please don't do it again. This is in direct conflict with insert information here. Do you understand? Yes, please sign this acknowledgement form that we've had this discussion. Oh, you did it again? See ya. And we unappoint the person, or if that board continues to allow it, we dissolve the board. I'm kind of done playing.
So-
I'm done being wagged by the tail of individuals and committees in this town who believe that they can do what they want to do because of maybe a perceived entitlement or who they think they are, or I will do and then ask for forgiveness later. I'm kind of tired of that game too.
So we need some sort of progressive discipline policy
Yeah.
or something of that nature.
Yes, please.
Because I think we already have there are causes for removal, include failure to discharge the duties or violation of town policies. So we already have that. But we need probably a more standard practice to how we address when that happens, and probably a progressive discipline of some sort, so that it's not somebody makes a mistake and they're automatically, because there is an intent thing too, I guess.
Correct. I mean, that's just it. You know what? You do something once and you're like, oh my God, sorry, you know, you bring it to the attention of the board or Kristen. I absolutely, totally get it. You do it again, you do it again, you do it again. To me, that's a one discussion, and then I'm not in favor of, let's have training, let's have a review, let's have a no. See you, bye.
So there's a couple of thoughts on that. One is there is already, if you will, a statutory process in place that is the same as it would be for an employee, which is purpose 1 under executive session. So it's a 48-hour notice to the committee member. They have the right to have that in closed session or open session. They get noticed, and I would generally, the way that I'm seen this done in the past, the select board and whichever board or committee they're on, either the chair or that board would join that executive session, have the discussion, have the conversation, and then the select board would come out of executive session and make a motion to unappoint in open session. So that process lies there already within the law. I also know on my list, and we've been trying to get to it, is updating the volunteer handbook, making sure that the whole process for appointments, reappointments, perhaps unappointments is clearly laid out in there. And we want to get some more standard operating procedures, which was Liz Valerio's recommendation for the basics. You know, you come in, you're a brand new volunteer, you've never volunteered on town board or committee. How do you deposit money? How do you put, you know, if you have an employee, how is there a payroll, you know, put in? Just trying to get some more basic SOPs, if you will. Also, Liz did recommend doing a training on the basics for employees, but that costs money.
Correct, that costs money, and
I mean, not employees, boards and committees, sorry.
understand that, it costs money. And again, you're not a child. You are not a 16-year-old child doing something. You're an adult. You understand what's going on. You choose to do what you want when you want to do it. So, no, for me, I would fight that. That will be the hill I will die on for progressive discipline. Absolutely not of 15 steps.
Well, and we spend a lot of time in our office helping folks, and that's part of our job, right? We help boards and committees. If somebody asks a question, we assist. The foot traffic is high in our office because people are coming in and asking the right questions. And how do I do this? Or, oops, I realized I did this wrong. How do I correct it? And we never come down on people like, oh, you're a horrible human being. You should just get out of town. Like, it's not like that.
Mm-mm.
We're here to help. That's genuinely what we do. I know what you're talking about. It's when there's repeated failures, or just disregard, because I always will reach out to folks first and say, hey, just a reminder, when you do this, please make sure you do that, and happy to go over it if you want to come in and sit down. So, you know, I do think we have, maybe it's not officially written, but there is just a general office practice in place to assist anybody who wants help on how things are done around here.
And I understand that the majority of this town is run on volunteers, and I am eternally grateful for every one of them that are out there. And I certainly don't want this to be a, oh my God, you know, there she goes again on her broom whizzing around. I don't want it to turn into, oh, Scott got away with it, so now I can get away with it. So now Lisa can get away with it. I just don't want that behavior of, they didn't do anything to him, so I'm gonna do it.
So maybe we already have these tools, we just need to start utilizing them. Is that?
Yeah, so maybe we need to look at the volunteer policy. Maybe that's one that comes up on an agenda. We can all look at and make comments on.
Yeah, I do think, just for another discussion at some point, I do think training is important, and we should at least once a year have some sort of training for volunteers, and I think that might take some of the burden off the
Mhm.
in and outdoor policy. So that might help that office to not have to field all of that if we do that all at once in a room, at least once a year.
Yeah, it does, I mean, it's fine. I get that we have to do it, but it does take a lot of time away from other things. So, and you know, the constant interruption of foot traffic can be challenging to get regular work done.
No, but I mean, I'm concerned we already have barriers to recruiting good volunteers, and all volunteers are, including us and staff, are flawed human beings that have our strengths and weaknesses. And there's definitely some very blatant examples that I know bug you that are out there. I want to make sure that well-meaning, hardworking volunteers don't get wrapped up in this.
Absolutely.
You know, that the number of things that I mess up because I can't keep myself organized enough, you know, I could find myself out, well, except there's no recall for select board, but
Yeah, and
um,
I mean, I think it goes to intent. I don't think
right.
anybody wants to drag anybody in if the intent is pure.
Correct.
And I think most of the time it is, and that goes back to that training piece. But when it's not, and it's repeated over and
Yeah.
over again, and we know there's a couple.
Right.
Then I think it's probably that sort of us having to step up and say, okay,
Enough.
and some of it is that sometimes this happens with groups that don't report to the select board. So we don't have the ability to unappoint even if we wanted to.
Mhm.
no, but we
there's-
do have certain, as the select board, like, you know, access to buildings and different things do fall under our purview, so.
Right.
You know, steps can be taken in that direction.
All right, well, you know what, at least we have a path forward. We'll look at the volunteer guide, see what needs to be updated. Look for standard operating procedures, which I'm sure they're out there for volunteers.
And we have a lot of internal ones that departments have done over the years anyways, like the treasurer's office, how do you deal with cash? Our office, how do you hire an employee or, you know, a volunteer?
Yeah.
So we can build on that.
I appreciate that, thank you.
I have specifically called out the volunteer policy and handbook on things to remember for future board meetings. Especially, actually, it's even under, I put it under the policy update section for us when we pick the policies to be looking at.
And I'm also working, in fact, I have a meeting with James and Kristen and Dee. I am working on making sure that we get our ethics training up to date. So I'll be bringing a procedure to you shortly on that. I just wanted to make sure I got input on it. So I think just knowing and reaffirming ethics training and conflict of interest and code of conduct and those things also will help with that. So people have it at the top of their mind, and I think it also formalizes that volunteer sort of feel that you're part of something bigger than you.
Thank you for bringing this forward, appreciate it.
I think next on the agenda is dress code policy. Find where I put it.
Yes. So did take this to the department head meeting that was held last Monday. And asked we did have a robust discussion about it. There were some interesting questions and were able to resolve it, but overall not a tremendous amount of concern, but asked all of the department heads to please push it out to their employees that day and requested feedback by Friday so that we could go ahead and I could make some recommended updates to the policy for a few things that were ambiguous or people were concerned about. So what you do have in your drive for tonight is feedback that we received, as well as a tracked changes updated policy that I recommended to address some of the points that were brought up.
And then we did have sort of a last minute comment today from someone. Um, and, and looking at that, I'm just wondering whether or not there is a need for casual days and instead because the only difference I see between regular days and casual days is jeans. And I don't know why that you couldn't just make the same description of jeans that are allowed on casual days, which are, dark wash, non-ripped, could just be allowed every day. Because I think if I came into the office and there was someone wearing, dark jeans and not teared, but had a small collared shirt on, I think that would
Be fun.
be fine. And then it saves you from casual versus non-casual designations.
I will tell you, it's not commonplace in town halls,
I know.
but we don't have to do what other people do either,
Well,
so.
I guess that goes, I don't think everyone would necessarily come in wearing jeans. My office place allows jeans for folks and I can't bring myself to wear jeans to a workplace environment. To be fair, I think I only own one pair of jeans, but that's a different story. And I think that allows for the flexibility that the person who wrote in was looking for in their sort of work environment.
Yes, and there are a number of exemptions that I recommended in here too. One was to add assessing in to the field or facilities rules because they do inspections. So obviously, if they're out there trekking around, jeans are the appropriate thing to wear. Also, it was pointed out to me that for folks that work on machinery, such as mechanics on the highway, they're going to get grease stains on their shirts that are not going to wash out. So the clarification about, there might have temporarily or permanent stained garments that need to be reworn. Also, I had a couple of conversations with the library director and received some feedback. I spent a good amount of time trying to figure out how to make this policy completely apply to the library. They are overseen by a board of trustees. I think that the best thing would be to allow the board of trustees to work with the library director if they feel that this is something they should implement. So I recommended exempting or saying that this policy does not apply to library employees due to the nature of their work. I mean, they have teenagers that work in there. You have people sitting on the floor playing with children. You have people climbing up and doing things.
Yeah, although I hope in the library that people are not wearing T-shirts with vulgar wording on them or overtly political things, even if it's politics that I agree with.
Sure.
I think in those environments
I mean, I can tell you from personal experience as a person who is in there at least twice a week, picking up books, that there has never been anything that I have walked in and been like, at all. So,
one would think that if that had happened, they would have a policy by now about dress. Because it's usually one guy that makes you have these policies. So.
yeah, if somebody walked in and saw it, I'm sure that would have been brought up a long time ago.
Okay, and I'm not sure if it is understood that while clothing should be as clean as and presentable as possible, the work carried out, isn't that just departmental flexibility? Department heads or employees seeking specific exemptions yeah, I think that just falls under that. I don't think you need to add it. I think that's an additional guideline based on safety, public contact, or department specific roles.
And it very well could be. It was specifically brought up, so I was trying to.
But
fit
you don't
some
have
language.
to. You don't have to attack everything if it already really exists, because, I mean, this is a guideline.
Yep.
And there are people involved in enforcing it. And I expect that anybody who's enforcing this should be enforcing it with common sense, or we have another problem.
I think it was the clean and presentable line item that caused concern, so.
That I would still say that's department specific role requires you to sometimes get dirty and you can't address that. So, I mean, that to me falls under that.
Okay,
If you're sitting in a chair in town offices all day, then you don't need that specific flexibility, but if you're doing those other positions, then you
Right.
do.
I mean, you have to look at stuff like closed-toed shoes. It includes sneakers. If you've got plantar fasciitis, you're you've got your pretty pants on and your pretty shirt on, and you're sporting a pair of sneakers,
I
you know,
used to wear
underneath.
them in the state house. I brought extra shoes in case I had to go
Right.
into the chamber. And I brought a blazer, but,
Right.
you know.
Sneakers I can see. What are those rubber shoes? Crocs.
Crocs.
No, that's a safety thing anyways.
Yeah.
You know, for that. So, but again, it should be common sense if there are, you know, again, people that are not adhering to this, then it should be up to the department head person to pull the person aside and be like, because we don't want this to be, oh my God, you've just blown my entire wardrobe. Now I've got to go buy
Mhm.
3 sets of pretty pants and shirts and things like that. So we are certainly not asking people to go out and ditch their entire wardrobe. We're asking you to take a look before you go to the door. And if you dress like you're going to the beach, or if you dress like you're taking a nap, perhaps you need to turn around and go back and change.
and that's really, at least for me, my intent in all of this is bed, beach, gym. Please don't dress like you're going to any of those places. And so this was designed to have flexibility, to not have people have to repurchase clothing, you know, not to be overly formal or seem elitist in any way, shape, or form. I tried to make it as gender neutral as possible. You can wear khakis and a polo. You know, it doesn't say in anywhere that, you know, women have to wear skirts. If a man wants to wear a skirt, I don't care. This is designed to literally just present a professional appearance, and I think that it's standard practice, at least across the 4 municipalities that I've worked for, in the town hall or city hall or county hall standard. I mean, it goes farther, and I think I mentioned this at the last meeting. When I worked at the city of Worcester, men had to wear ties and button-down shirts. And one time I came in black trouser capris and was told that was not appropriate because they look like shorts. So there's a much more formal environment in other places. I don't think that's necessary for here, and I would not want to put that expense or pressure on people.
I don't think I want sort of perfect to be enemy of the good. It's a 1.0 policy. I think that I would hope in the first, 6 months or year, people who are falling in a gray area or so, we look at going, boy, is it really the employee that's outside of what we want, or should we tweak the policy? And expect that, putting this into play, we'll get some of those examples and we'll go, yes, the policy is good here. Or, no, we forgot this thing, and let's tweak the policy so that what the employee did, which felt right, is covered.
Right. And as you can see, there were individual concerns that were emailed in, and you can see how I tried to address them within my understanding of the policy as it stands, and a few minor tweaks. I also did have some one-on-one conversations with employees that had specific concerns.
I'm fine with exemption for the library. I am fine with either calling out your statement about permanently or temporarily stained stuff, or I'm also fine with removing it and having it covered by the departmental exceptions. Because you're right, if I am, in the cemetery and see a highway worker mowing and weed eating and they have grass all over their shirt and pants, I'm like, of course they have grass all there doing the work
That's-
we're paying them to do.
It's common sense.
Yes, yeah,
What are you gonna do about casual days?
I would remove them.
I would leave it just as it is, but.
She would leave them as it is. So
I would
you can-
I would take them out.
Okay.
And then I would
It's
add-
not a hill I'm gonna die on.
Right.
then.
And then I would add the description of jeans into what's allowed.
Cause you can wear a black pair of jeans that look like dress jeans, and you're not gonna know until I'm like sitting right
Okay.
down and looking down at your.
There are several nice pairs of even blue jeans that I
Absolutely.
think go well with a nice shirt.
So add back in jeans and get rid of
Casual. days.
Casual
casual
days.
days.
One less thing on your to-do list is deciding what days are casual, which days are
Yes.
not.
I mean, again, it
Whether
should
we
be
get
common
Casual
sense.
Thursdays because
Right, it-
Fridays are the end of the week.
If I'm in, if
Yeah,
I'm
I've
in,
just never worked in a professional office space where I was allowed to wear jeans
Yeah.
other than
right,
like
but if I,
Fridays or.
again, if I know that I'm meeting with insert really, vendor here or important person here. I'm not showing up in my jeans. I'm putting on a pair of pretty
Well,
pants.
But
and-
if it's allowed by policy, it's
not,
allowed by
though.
policy. So
And
You're
not
not though. I mean,
everyone thinks
Yeah.
that way.
And
Yeah.
I think this was just to provide sort of some guidance.
Well,
but-
you know what?
Right.
Put it in and, let's roll with the policy and see what we get back in 6 months, put it on your tickler list for a department head meeting. Hey, how is this going? Or just see who's coming in and I can't do this anymore type of thing.
I hope the dress code policy doesn't drive me to that seems kind of.
Nice. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
do you have
There's
some
so many other
directions
things
to
that
go?
could-
Because I didn't think we were voting this night, right? We're gonna discuss it. It'll be consent agenda for next time.
It can, we did discuss it at the
Okay.
last meeting. It's up to you all. I can revise it as
Ready?
according to this and put it on the
For-
next
For a
consent.
vote,
Sure,
but we have to be clear on what we're doing about the casual day. Here are the,
get rid of it.
Add
Okay.
jeans, remove casual
Okay.
days, and remove the last sentence under the field facilities section.
yes, and we're okay with the library exemption.
Yep.
Is there a motion?
Motion to approve with those caveats.
Seconded.
I don't need to call on the audience. It's not a public hearing. Sorry.
I have a procedural question.
Yes,
And I actually want to turn to Dee on this one. I know we closed the public hearing for the tax classification hearing. Is it possible to reopen that hearing from a procedural standpoint at the same meeting as in now?
Why?
You
What did we
can't
do?
reopen the public meeting. So, okay, and the reason I'm asking is because I don't fully understand how this happened, but even though the vote for the shift last year in my mind was always 1.49, and I'm almost positive that's what we voted for. What actually ended up happening was a 1.44 shift. So you are correct. Yes, and
I get the wrong number.
no, you're correct. And in fact, Linda just sent me a photo of it and I need to do a little more digging into that. So I don't know if that would make an impact because obviously if you were at 1.44, now we're at
You don't wanna
1.45.
do 147. If you were at 144, you want to do more like 1.38 or 1.39.
except that that would be an even higher impact tax wise on the residents
It
than we're
would
already
be.
doing it. So we're already talking about a 5 to 6% increase at,
Well, before we have the
No.
discussion,
No.
we should open.
She
But
ran
if
the
we're
wrong
going
numbers.
to
So it's
do
about,
something That's going to drastically change. Make things higher than more people may have spoken.
yeah, so I think we need to wait and you need to run the numbers again.
Okay,
So how is that gonna impact tax bills?
it would delay.
because we can't do it on October 6th. We don't have enough time to post it, do we?
Yeah. I would hate to do it on October, we don't have enough time for the 29th.
And I had recommendations for those, but
If we
I
booked it
thought
for
I
the
was gonna
29th.
get some verification, so
Next week?
I would want that.
Why not?
Yeah, it's not a noticed public hearing, meaning that it goes in the newspaper. It
Okay,
has to
okay,
be
okay.
10 days before. Yes,
Yeah.
I
So-
apologize. I don't know how
So,
that happened and I
I
need to
think we
dig
will
into
do,
it.
well, it's weirdly, it's coming up in your dress code, but yes, I think we reopen it just to open that one motion. I don't think we need to revisit the other three, correct? Right. Right, so we'll have a hearing to revisit that one motion.
Okay.
And I think it's not whether or not to do the split, but what our ratio would be.
Okay, so that will, if we do it next Monday, that
Yep.
would push us out 1 week on
Yep,
the
yep,
tax
yep.
bills.
It also lessens the impact because it's not like they have to prepare for residential exemption or not residential exemption, because we're not doing that one. So at least the variety that you have to prepare for is much
Right.
smaller.
It would just be
Or
on
it's a rate
the,
number,
on the
it's just-
slip.
Yep.
The only thing that concerns me a little bit is 1.45 is $554, and we were estimating 568. And we got that return of the additional new growth. So the lower we go, it's gonna end
Yeah.
up looking like more than we estimated.
Yeah.
Or being more than we estimated, so,
So it has to be, is at the other side of that, is we've lost a large commercial property.
yes. we
That's
have.
gone to tax abatement. So that's why it's also impacting more, because that impact is bigger than the new growth number.
That's true. So we could repost then
Yep.
for the,
Sixth.
I
are
thought
we,
you said the
can we
29th.
do the 29th so it doesn't push
week
the
from
bills out by
today?
2
Oh, a week
weeks?
from today.
Can you do a week from today?
I can do it today.
And I'll still be here.
Okay.
Do we need to go early? Will that help, like 6?
I'm always available, whatever works for you all.
I'm good.
Good.
Uh,
for-
Earlier is always better for me. Always.
Always.
And early is always harder on me. Let's do 6.
Can we do 6?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll repost for 6 PM on
I
the
might try to
29th.
make it as much a one issue
That's fine.
meeting as I can.
Then Scott, just put that on the agenda, one item and
Yeah.
go. And then we'll just carry on the following week, because that'll
Yeah.
be 3 weeks in a row.
I just certainly
Yep.
did not want us to move forward with a decision made off of misinformation. I'm gonna go back and do some research.
Um, is there a motion on the dress code policy?
It
There was.
I thought there was.
It was.
We
Yes.
just need to
Is-
say aye.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Sorry, I thought you did that before I
No.
jumped,
No,
but
that's okay.
I was a little
Uh,
stressed, so I jumped the gun.
Board questions, liaison updates. I'm just gonna pass.
Minor quick, rec was postponed, but they did receive the updated description. I forget when their next meeting is, might be this week. It's coming up.
I didn't see it on the agenda
Uh,
or on the thing, but
they postponed it. They were going to have it. And then something happened, so then they kicked the meeting, so they wouldn't have been able to get feedback to us.
okay, no, but I looked, unless it just went up. I haven't seen, is it,
It's, yeah,
so they have something up now?
Yes.
Okay, what's the date?
oh, I saw it. Oh, please.
I can go look later.
All right,
It's fine, it's
um,
fine.
And the other ones, energy, again, hats off. There was, multiple questions sent out for information regarding heating pumps. There was no input back, from the vendor. So the chair of energy was quite explicit that this work was not rewarded or awarded to that person, or group. So hopefully there will be no work done and no bills submitted because we ain't paying it. I miss Concom, apologies to them, and I will not be here on November 2nd. I think we're meeting that day. September 24th, Lisa, is rec.
Same night as Housing Trust.
And it is on their agenda along with the pavilion playground project, so hopefully I can get some skinny.
Could you ask if ADA sidewalk is part of the design? Somebody asked me about that because it's really hard to get in there with a stroller. Another thing that came up was, it would be nice if there were signs or otherwise to advertise that it is available to residents during the day and not a school playground, like whether it's a sign at the beginning of South Commons Playground. Because people avoid it because they think it's
School.
not available during the school day and it is not a school playground. So like a sign in front of the road, or we put it out on the website or whatever, but that is available during the day to those who have kids who want to playground during the day.
Okay.
And the other thing was picnic tables in front of the church. Do we have any sort of maintenance plan for those? If we don't, could we? Because they are starting to degrade this. That's all I had.
I did have one thing.
Okay.
It's a comment or anything else. Ramen Haven is open. They're having a soft
Excellent.
opening.
Oh, nice.
I was there the other night. They're
Yummy?
yeah, it was yummy. Yes.
You like yummy?
Yes. They're a sit down and sort of takeout place, so they have, 6 tables. It was nice. And they're in the town of Berlin, so meals tax comes to the town. So if we all eat there often, it could balance the town budget. Along with other restaurants in town. We have many
Mhm.
restaurants in town. We all should visit all of them often.
Agree.
We have an executive session tonight. And so the board will enter an executive session under Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A, purpose to discuss strategies with respect to litigation. As I declare, the open meetings I declare it because it will have a detrimental effect on litigation pending. And we will adjourn from there. We have to walk back to this room to adjourn, don't we?
We don't, but we,
Okay.
We could just open the door.
Okay,
we'll go back into open session just for the purpose of.
yeah,
adjournment.
the only reason we're gonna come back to open session is to adjourn. Motion to executive session? Yep.
So moved.
Seconded.
Uh,
Lisa, or Waisaki, I.